President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of justice. On our
Brought access to our money. As always said, there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I.
Good morning and welcome to Open Air. Open Air is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Today on Open Air, we'll look at the stories. First, Rivers State. Fubara sends fresh commissioner nominees to Assembly. And Fubara says, I won't be governor without Wike. Rivers Assembly by-election to hold without PDP, Labour Party, and ADC, INEC says. And on to Kano State, where Ganduje says, I am Kwakwanso's brother, not enemy. INEC considers shift for 2027 polls due to concerns around Ramadan timing. And alleged wiretapping probe punish El-Rufai, Onanuga says. And on politics, lawmaker says jobs admissions may favor only APC member under Tinubu. And Obi is galvanizing, and he's saying if they don't count our votes in 2027 election, we will count the person. We are open for sponsorship of the program, advert placements, news, events, coverage, and commercials. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. You can also watch us on Avo TV, Niger TV, and Efastech TV platform. You can connect with us on our ATN socials by subscribing, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. And on X, Atlantic TV Net. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Do not go away.
Protecting people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of justice. On our
Brought access to our money. As always said, there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacle, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Protecting people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
to condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of justice. On our
Brought access to our money. As always said, there are two sets of people: the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacle, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Air this morning is George Azunda Chinda, a regular on Open Air and also a political analyst. Good morning, George, and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Laurentia. Good morning, viewers.
Happy Sunday.
I wish you the
And
same.
you look good.
Thank you very much.
All right. And then on to the story. River State Governor Similaye Fubara has submitted a fresh list of commissioner nominees to the State House of Assembly for screening and approval, sources told press. The list was reportedly forwarded to Speaker Martin Amehule on Friday, barely 24 hours after the governor dissolved his cabinet and sacked all special advisors. An aide said the move followed the Supreme Court ruling recognizing the Amehule-led assembly, noting that some nominees may emerge from the camp of FCT Minister Nyesom Wike as part of ongoing reconciliation efforts. The aide added that commissioners who performed well could be reappointed, while the reconstructed assembly complex would soon be commissioned for plenary sittings. Meanwhile, sources say a new chief of staff may be appointed in line with the reconciliation agreement brokered by President Bola Tinubu. While Assembly spokesperson Enemy Judge neither confirmed nor denied receiving the list, a former commissioner, Ogbonna Nwuke, described the cabinet dissolution as necessary to restore peace and enable effective governance in the state. George, what do you make of this story?
Well, for now, it's still a rumor. Because like you rightly said, the spokesperson for the River State House of Assembly, Honorable Enemy Judge, has not, confirmed or denied, such a list. Even though we believe that such a move, is ongoing. It's ongoing. It's a move. It's still ongoing until it gets to the final destination. But for now, it has not been confirmed. But we want to believe that such a thing has happened, given the recent dissolution of the cabinet and the, peace-packed meeting, a closed-door meeting held in Abuja between the FCT minister, the governor, and probably the president. So we believe that that was what necessitated the dissolution of the cabinet. So what you've just said there, for me, the likelihood is there. So if that is the case, it's a good step in the right direction, given the fact that the states must run and the governor cannot walk alone. He needs those people who will help him, to deliver governance in the states. So we're talking about the commissioners. And the River State House of Assembly, by the Constitution, have the mandate to screen and approve for the state who are those people to become the commissioners. So it's a good one, and I believe this will go a long way to restore peace. If the actors, I'm talking about the governor here, and the state assembly, did not go back to some kind of political fight again, if they decide to put the interest of the states at heart and first before the people, I believe the persons that will be coming for commissionership will be, for the best interest of the states, and the machinery of government will begin to run again. So it's a good one, and we hope that this time around there will be no hanky-panky. Nobody's trying to outplay the other person. They are genuine, they are sincere, they are honest in their approach to governance. So it's a good one, I want to say.
Right. And when you said, when you raised your concern around possible break in these truths, in these latest truths, one would say, well, to a large extent, it appears that River State, generally, the polity is very, very calm. Unlike the previous truths, we have had in River State, the first outrage over the presidential intervention happened just a few days, and, everybody, both camps, have been calm. You've not seen people on the governor's camp throwing jabs or, making careless statements that can incite anger. And still on the part of the FCT minister, everybody appears to, even in WhatsApp groups, everybody appears to be calm. Do we see this as the calmness right now that we are experiencing in River State politics? Do we see this as a calmness that is going to last very long? Also seeing or considering the fact that the governor, this is the fastest the governor is implementing agreements I mean, when you consider the position he has taken in previous agreements that did not succeed, one would say to a large extent, this is the fastest we have seen the governor, implementing agreements or some of the agreements that have been passed. So how do you see, in light of this development and the body language of the governor, how do you see this, Rivers State politics in the coming days?
I want to say that this is the fastest of the governor implementing some of those agreements reached, behind closed doors, because it appears he has reached a dead end. This time
a dead end?
Yes, a dead end, because obviously he was served an impeachment notice, and there was no way he was going to wriggle himself out of it. There was no way, because the people who served him this, were by the Supreme Court judgments, we are the duly elected, members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, and they have enough grants that the governor has spent, without appropriation, which is impeachable. So the governor obviously had reached a dead end. So this truth is what we call political solution. So I think he had no other option than to quickly implement the agreement that was reached behind closed doors, that is the political solution, in order to remain in the good books of both the assembly and those other people who are members or who are part of the agreement. Now that is that. On the other hand, I want to say that the reason why you are witnessing the calmness from across the divides is because leaders have a lot of role to play in the way to shape narrative and the way their supporters behave. The other previous truths that were reached that never materialized was as a result of the attitude and actions of the leaders, especially the governor. Especially the governor. Because if his followers have said that even him that signed some kind of agreement to implement this and that is not implementing it and is instead talking tough, the followers definitely join him. But this time around, he's the one leading the charge himself. Just recently, in the course of going through the job, the ongoing job at the ring road that is being constructed in Rivers State, he, commended the FCT minister and referred to him as his Oga. You
But he has always even
this time around, you could
he has
see he
always
said
said
something there. He said something that this project was initiated by his Oga. And the Oga is of the view that if he implements this project to the full, the Rivers people will benefit. If he had not said anything like that, and in fact said that he was the one that came up with it, his supporters will also toe that line. And those who are even not living in this state, who are busy, stoking the fire and ember of war, would have harped on that, and that would charge the entire political, landscape and all that. But he has taken the lead by trying to douse tension. It did not end there. Just recently, he was given an award where he went to Lagos. Okay, so he went there and he also made a statement and dedicated the award to his organ. So if the #1 man in the state is towing the line of peace, his body language has shown that of peace, I mean, who are you as a follower to begin to say otherwise? Especially when you have seen that, there was a noose hanging around on the governor's neck, and we are trying to loosen that noose. So you will not be the one, because if anything happens to him at the head, it will affect all the followers. So that is the reasons for the calmness. Even for those of us who were against what the governor was doing, his body language has shown it. In fact, has not given us any reason, to be reactionary and begin to raise some kind of dust that will unsettle the political environment. So we're also towing that line. We're also taking a cue from what he is doing. And obviously the FCT minister had not even come out, to say anything against. Instead, the last time he was interviewed, he spoke in support and things like that. So that is the basis for the calmness you see in Rivers State today politically.
All right. Also talking about Rivers State polity and the calmness and the governor's body language. Rivers State Governor Similaye Fubara has openly acknowledged that he would not have become governor without the support of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. He made the remark while receiving the new Telegraph Man of the Year award on Friday. Dedicating the award to Wike, Fubara said the former governor discovered him and brought him into political prominence, insisting that Wike's backing was central to his emergence as governor. He also thanked the people of Rivers State for their patience, maturity, and continued support amid the state's political tensions. Foba and Wike, once close political allies, later fell out in a dispute that plunged Rivers State into political crisis, splitting the House of Assembly and drawing national attention. The standoff was eventually resolved through the intervention of President Bola Tinubu, restoring relative calm to the state. George, what do you make of this story? This is more like a continuation of what you were saying earlier when you were analyzing the governor's body language.
Body language, yeah.
Right.
The governor understands. Like I said, the challenge before him is that it has gotten to a point where if he doesn't act rightly, he may be impeached. And that would dent whatever political career he has. Impeachment is not a good thing. You know, the first governor to be impeached in Nigeria was Balarabe Musa, and I don't think he recovered from that. It was something similar like this, you know, the executive versus legislature. That was in 1983, thereabouts, 1983. He was impeached because the assembly stood their ground. Eventually, he was impeached. So the man never recovered from that. Anybody you see that has been impeached will hardly recover. It's like a dent on your political career. So the governor of Rivers State understands some of this, and I believe that is the reason for the speedy implementation of whatever agreement they had. Regarding the dedication of award to the FC minister, you know, stating that the FCT minister recovered him, there's no dispute in that. Nobody is arguing that. Nobody in this state that doesn't know about this. And the reason some of us, you know, kicked against him when this whole disagreement started was because we felt that he betrayed. I mean, there were a lot of persons who were more qualified politically and otherwise to become who were front runners during that 2023 electioneering campaign. But the governor, the then governor, who is now the FCT minister, prevailed on all these persons to step aside for whatever reason. I had my reason why it became him and all that. But looking at the political trajectory, the FCT minister was actually the man that discovered the present governor today. Because from my understanding, he gained, you know, he was employed.
But the present governor at some point was working with the, I think the accountant general under Amechi's
Let me
tenure.
tell you, the FCT minister actually discovered him. The current governor, I think around 2003, was employed into civil service as a school teacher.
Okay.
As a school teacher. So after then, it was the FCT minister, you know, sometime in 2007 when they came into power during Amechi's time as the chief of staff. Or before then, that also transferred him from teaching to mainstream, you know, civil service into Biakwa as a cashier or something when he was the local government chairman within that place. So when Amechi came into government, the same FCT minister
carried him along
in the scheme of things into government house. You know, there are positions there, and he grew through the ranks. He was even given accelerated promotion, from what I gathered, by now the FCT minister. This were, you know, preparatory to him becoming the governor. There were a lot of people who were employed with him as at that 2003 who had not gotten to the, you know, position of permanent secretary in whatever ministry they found themselves. Well, he rose faster. You know, the FCT minister actually was intentional about this to assist. It's not that he did not merit it. That's not what I'm saying. He's actually a good civil servant. He merited it. But, you know, there was this, you know,
civil service has rules.
Yes, they have rules.
There are a number of years you will stay before promotion.
There are still waivers in that.
Okay.
In those rules, there are still waivers.
So waivers were employed in
something like that. That's my thinking.
All right.
That's my thinking.
Okay.
Just because of his excellent performance as a civil servant.
Okay.
So he was given that accelerated promotion and eventually to the point of becoming the accountant general of the state. You know, somebody made this thing, and that is just by the way. For you to become a governor of Rivers State, not just a present term, even as far back as when the state was created, when we began to witness democratic rule in Rivers State, had always been a tough one. But somebody made it so easy for him to become. Somebody made people to work assiduously for his emergence. people were on the street, people were in the trenches, people worked so hard, people were behind the scenes doing things for him to emerge. And barely 2 months or thereabout, this disagreement started. So some people who disagreed with him, who fell out with him, did not fall out with him on the account of the actual thing that led to which both of us, you and I, do not know exactly what led to their disagreement. But we felt that for what this man had done for you, all through these years, to become who you are today, to the point of becoming the governor of Rivers State, for whatever it was, you should not have at this early stage decided to discard him and all that. I don't really know why somebody did that. So I think that what the governor said in that, where he went to receive the award, is the correct thing, because he was actually discovered by Nelson Wike. Discovery.
Discovery.
By Nelson Wike. I know why I used the word. I quoted it by Nelson Wike, who had made him to become the governor of the most powerful, position in the state today. So it's a good one. Like I said, he has understood the situation and gone to his body language is actually towing that of peace. So everybody, both those for and against, are watching and they are equally implementing what the governor is doing. The day he changes, then you expect to have some kind of challenges again in the state. But for now, we are good. Hopefully with the submission of names for commissioners, once that is done and
we're expecting budgets.
Passing budget and all, you see the state running effectively again. Those crisis merchants will have nothing to gain and everywhere will be calm. The state will move in the right direction.
All right, very well. Still on Rivers State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Professor Gabriel Yomere, has confirmed that the February 21 by-elections for Kana Constituency 2 and Ahoda East Constituency 2 will proceed without candidates from the PDP, Labour Party or ADC. Yomere said the absence of the major parties was due to internal and procedural issues, noting that the 2 assembly seats have remained vacant for over 2 years following the death of Denibari Lolo and the resignation of Eddie Sinehe, who became the chief of staff to the governor. He disclosed that 12 candidates from 7 smaller parties are contesting the polls and assured residents that INEC has completed all logistics, stressing that supervisory presiding officers will be permanent INEC staff to ensure a credible election. George, what do you make of this story?
Well, let me first and foremost ask you, was it Yomere who labeled the other 7 parties as smaller parties, or it was the man who was writing the story?
That was...
because that was disrespectful to other parties being referred to as smaller parties. But that is by the way.
Right.
The issue is this: the election must go on. The election must go on. Like he said, it was not the fault of INEC that the likes of PDP, Labour Party could not resolve the internal crisis, which has led them not to present a candidate for the election. So if APC and the other smaller parties, or put like he said, were able to fit candidates, the election will definitely go on. Electorate will come and the voters will go there to vote. And at the end of the day, the result will be declared.
But then you remember that ADC boasted. I found this story quite interesting because, I mean, when INEC declared that there was going to be by-elections for these seats, to be replaced in the assembly, ADC was the first party to come out and react to that. In fact, ADC boasted that they were going to win the 2 seats, and they said it was going to be easy, more like walkover. Now, Labour Party had the reason that they presented to INEC. They told INEC that at that time there was litigation, right, in the party, so they removed themselves from contesting because of the litigation. Labour Party told INEC. Now, PDP, on the other hand, is rife with crisis. Even within the states, PDP in Rivers State has faction. We have your guess as good as mine. So PDP could not participate, but ADC boasted that they were going to participate in this election. And then considering again that the figurehead, if I may use that word, of ADC in Rivers State, being Rotimi Amechi, is planning to contest he has declared interest in running for presidency under ADC. And he is unable to contest, at least show popularity with this election. I'm trying to make it make sense to me. Do we actually have an ADC in Rivers State?
But the last time I was here, you asked me a question similar to what you've asked me today.
I'll keep asking because I need clarity.
I told you clearly that ADC would not stand any chance of winning even the least councillorship seats in Rivers State. They would not, no matter how they claim to be popular. Those things are just on papers. On ground, they are not. So it will be waste of resources, it will be waste of time, energy, and all that to embark on an election like this one we just mentioned. They will fail woefully. So, and that will send a negative signal to ADC National that these people could not make him. But when I mean woefully, they will fall flat. They will fall so flat.
Don't you think
the best thing, not sometimes when you keep silent, people will assume, even when you may not have anything to say or you don't know anything, people assume that for him to have kept quiet, he's actually thinking of something better. It's better that way than to open your mouth and talk, and people will not understand that there's nothing in your head. That's exactly what is actually going on here. They have realized that if they venture go into this election, it will reveal the extent to which this party is not on ground in Rivers State. And that will send a wrong signal to the nation. And we're talking about it like a prelude to the main election that is coming up barely 9 to 10 months from now, thereabout, or let's say a year from now. So if they go into this election and lose so woefully, it will be obvious, even to the blind, that ADC in Rivers State has nothing to offer. And that will affect their chances. So the best thing is to use 1 or 2 minutes to say we are not ready or something, just to still keep giving themselves hope. Because we know, we are on ground, we know that ADC is not on ground in this state. It's as simple as that. So for me, that's my thinking, that the reason why they will not participate, it has nothing to do with litigation, it has nothing to do with the party not being fully registered by INEC and all that. This is just them not participating because they have seen the handwriting on the wall that they cannot make any headway. They can't even present a formidable challenge that people will say, okay, they have tried.
Would they be able to run for Guba elections? You know,
by then it will be a fresh election.
They would have galvanized more.
But by then they are taking their time to build. But even at that, APC in this state, do you know the reason why PDP did not contest, aside these little challenges here and there? It's because here in this state,
it's Rainbow
Coalition thing.
So APC is PDP, PDP is APC.
These are the issues, so there's no need for them to venture into contesting that election. So it will be a carry-go election for the APC because they are the dominant.
But one would say that Rivers State has, become an APC state at this point. Yes, courtesy of a PDP chieftain by the FCT, in the person of the FCT minister. Rivers State has become an APC state. The local government, I think about 22, yes, 22 out of 23 local governments, it's
and they back APC.
For APC. And then the governor has defected to the APC. Majority of the Rivers State House of Assembly members have defected to the APC. And then your guess is as good as mine. And then, still talking on ADC, you recall that there's a litigation right now requesting that INEC, praying the courts to compel INEC to delist some political parties. And one of the political parties on the chopping block is ADC. And, the argument is that these parties have not met the requirements that should qualify them to contest election in 2027. One of those requirements, when you check the Electoral Act, is that these political parties, at least it's expected that ADC is over 10 years now. It's expected that at least they should have one national seat at the National Assembly, at the state level and local level. ADC cannot boast of one elective position. Now, had it been that probably ADC in Rivers State, threw in the hat in this ring and they were able to, even if it is get one of these assembly seats in this by-election, that will be a saving grace for ADC.
Laurentia, politics is a game of numbers. Election is a game of numbers. Election can be studied to know what the outcome will be. It's not just something you wish that ADC can get a seat. How do they get this? They are not on their membership, their support base is not massive enough to win even a ward councillorship position. Okay? Okay? It's not that strong. That's my understanding. And as it is today, they are not that strong to win this seat. They don't want to venture because that would take whatever bragging they have been trying to tell Nigerians that we are formidable enough. So the best thing will allow for a level playing ground when the election will come up in 2027. It's like a fresh one. We are starting afresh. This one is that they already had the APC have already gained foothold and ground in the state. So this election is a by-election. People already voted long before now. So
but on the other hand, George, if I may ask, they Rotimi Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State, who has declared interest in contesting for the presidential election through ADC, even though they've not done primaries, but he has shown interest. I want to know, for someone that wants to contest presidential election, I'm not hearing political noise around him in Rivers State. Is it just me, or what exactly is going on? Is Rotimi Amechi hoping to get his support base from the north because he has always, boasted of his relationship with the northern political oligarchy? Now, when you look at it that way, isn't election, how do you people say it, local? And won't these things play out in consideration for vice presidential candidates or presidential candidates in the coming elections? How do you see that playing out for Amechi in ADC?
In our Nigerian political culture, we tend to look at, what are you coming to the table with? What is your grassroots appeal and support? Do you really boast of this and that before you be considered for one position or the other? As much as I hate to say this, but that is the reality on ground. It is unfortunate that Amechi reigned and still want to reign when Nyesom Wike is very much at the top of this political game. That is the only albatross of Amechi in this state. Amechi is a grassroots politician. He has that appeal. People love him, no doubt. But the unfortunate thing is that he still want to reign when Wike is already at the apex of the political system, not just in Rivers State, but in the country. That is only the only albatross to Amechi's further rise in politics. And the unfortunate thing is that both of them came from the same senatorial district. So that is the major challenge for Amechi. That no matter how hard he tries, I'm saying this, like I said, I hate to say this, because these are the two people I have enormous respect politically for. I hate to see that they are always fighting, but the truth is, given reality, it's really unfortunate that he still wants to climb the ladder when Wike is already at the top. Wike is a master of the game, and it will be very difficult. It is very unlikely that Amechi will win Wike in this state as it is today, and hopefully by the election in February next year. I don't see the possibility. That is the challenge he's having. It's not if he's not a good politician, but Wike is on top of the game. People are the ones that make up political party. People are the ones that make this move, that galvanize for vote, that reach out to people. Most of those people who in Rivers politics are with Wike. And Wike is intentional about holding this people to himself to keep canvassing his own position as the national leader.
Right.
And meanwhile, you cannot still dismiss Amechi. But like I said, the unfortunate thing is that it happened when Wike, who is at the top of this game, is still very much relevant. If Wike had finished reigning, it would have been easier for Amechi to ascend. But unfortunately, with what it is today, I don't see
how is this going to affect his candidacy for the presidential election?
That is the point I'm trying to make, that in our system here, we look at all these things as consideration before positions are given to you. But however, there are other things which I would not want to say on camera. There are other things that he may be coming with to the table, with something like maybe geopolitical zone and things like that. These are some of the considerations.
ADC has clearly said, El-Rufai has said that there will be no zoning in ADC.
Is that a fact?
And apart from that, certain ADC chieftains who are of the Atiku camp have also said it clearly. Number one, that primaries will be purely primaries, no automatic ticket, and that zoning will not be considered in ADC. And that statement, when you look at it clearly, is clearing the road for Atiku. And secondly, Atiku was the person that built the coalition before they coalesced into ADC. Okay. Well, Atiku built that Atiku-led coalition then only to allow someone else to be. When you consider all these things, and then you consider, and he has also said he doesn't want to be, Amechi, he has said, I don't want to be a running mate to anybody. I want to contest for presidency. Now, I'm looking at the person of Atiku. I'm looking at the person of Obi, right? I'm looking at the person of other people who possibly have interest. Sheyi Makinde, apparently, there are conversations between him and Atiku and IBB. When you consider all these things, is in the grand scheme of things, George, having had experience and having followed politics and be an active politician in a very long time, how do you see Amechi playing grassroots support-based card against Obi that has obedient movements nationwide, right? Then, can Amechi also boast of northern support when Atiku's support base is very strong from that? Can Amechi boast of the South-South or the South-East support at this point in time? What can he bring to the table? Like you have also explained that, but I'm looking at ADC now and the possible presidential candidates and vice presidential candidates at it.
First thing first, let me say that politicians should not be taken for face value. This is just politics. A politician can say A today and by tomorrow he's saying B, because politics is dynamic. The reason, the factors.
Are you saying it should not be taken at face value, or it should be taken at face value?
I said it should not be taken so.
When you say, okay, we should not be taken at face value, which means we should take it seriously.
However you want to look at it, all I'm saying is that politics is dynamic.
All right.
Politicians can actually say A today, and by tomorrow they
switch.
The reason is because of the dynamic nature of politics.
Okay.
There could be a reason why he's saying this today. By tomorrow, those things have changed. The man also will change with the weather.
All right.
Now, coming to your questions about these people you've just mentioned and their grassroots support and all that, and Amechi not having all those things on table, and how will he be considered for that position? Like I told you earlier, it's not as if Amechi do not possess what these other people possess. The only challenge, the hard battle is Nyesom Wike, coming from the Sen Senatorial District and from the Sen State. So Nyesom Wike has caged politically the who is who in this state, who would have helped Amechi to have that kind of leverage. That's the unfortunate thing. So, but there are factors sometimes that leads to this. The man who may want to emerge, or who may emerge rather, as ADC's presidential candidate, may decide to have personal likeness for him, irrespective of some of these challenges, and decide to still pick him ahead. We saw it played out the last time that Atiku chose Okowa ahead of Wike. Even when the party big week favored Wike, even when there are factors that favors Wike to come with something, that would have helped him to win the general election, but he still chose Okowa ahead of Wike. So these are some of those things that I said that can change within 24 hours.
All right.
So you can't rule out anything. Amechi has said that he doesn't want to be VP.
It's not cast in stone.
It's a statement.
Right.
Tomorrow things may change, and he thinks that the best thing, because for every political parties and politician, the most important thing is to grab power. After which you can sit back and decide to discuss how this power sharing and all that will take place. Okay? So, but for now, this is electioneering. Everybody has right to say whatever he likes to say.
All right.
Just, for the sake of massaging the egos of the
until the real game starts.
Until once the game starts and you see that this thing is tilting towards this pendulum, it's against you,
People
you have no other choice than to either key or ship out.
All right. All right. Very well. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll look at possible shift of the forthcoming 2027 polls due to Ramadan timing. Do not go away. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Independent National Electoral Commission has acknowledged concerns over the scheduling of the 2027 general elections, which coincide with the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, and says it may seek legislative intervention if adjustments become necessary. INEC explained that the election timetable, February 20, 2027, for presidential and National Assembly polls, and March 6, 2027 for governorship and state assembly elections was fixed in line with the Constitution, Electoral Act 2022 and its guidelines, which mandate elections on specific Saturdays. However, the Commission said it is consulting stakeholders over the potential impact of Ramadan and other national observances on voter participation. INEC assured Nigerians it remains open to lawful adjustments, reaffirming its commitment to inclusive, transparent and credible elections in 2027. George, what is your take on this?
Well, we are a deeply religious state, and like some of those who are kicking against the dates, they are saying that period falls the same period during the Ramadan, and that will exclude some, Muslim voters. I do not favor disenfranchising, voters. I want, large participation of electorate, because that should be the will of the majority or will of the people. Where, for instance, we have 100 million persons that register to vote, and at the election day, you're having 10 million to decide who becomes the president and other such leaders. For me, it's not a good one. We need massive participation from all around the country. So if it falls on the time, knowing how these people take their religion, I am not a Muslim. I'm a liberalist, so if I see such a thing, for me, what matters is voting and ensuring that we have the right persons to man the positions of government. But some persons do not see it that way. So the best thing for me is to respect their wishes. It doesn't change anything, provided it does not go against the Electoral Act, which is the supreme law that guides the operations of election in this country. And next we see how they can adjust the timetable to accommodate, our brothers who are adherents of Muslim worship. Just to
so that nobody will be disenfranchised because of religion.
To say I was not allowed to vote because I was fasting or I was doing this or that. So INEC should see how they can accommodate them. But again, such thing will also run contrary with what some of us have been kicking against.
Which is what?
Past. The people who worship with the 7 days advantage, the Sabbath, who claims that election days are fixed on the days that they are worshiping.
They have not been considered.
They are in court as I speak to you to see how election dates or days will be changed from Saturdays to weekdays or something. They are in court as I speak to you. So they also have not been considered. They have been shouting all these years, crying, calling for government to consider such days and order. But for how long are we going to continue? Because if you put it on maybe a Wednesday, there could be one deity, worshippers of deities from somewhere to say that Wednesday is usually, our worship days and all that. So which particular day are we going to have that will convenient for everybody? So this is just the challenge that INEC will have to look into and see how they can resolve. But I am of the view that because of the number of persons that may be affected, given their numbers, INEC should consider that date and see how they can accommodate them.
They're already saying that they are considering it, but they will have to seek legislative intervention. That's the National Assembly now will have to come into it. And that's why you're saying the National Assembly should, because there is a Christian sector that has also been crying out that the elections fall on a day of worship for them. So if they are considering the fact that the Muslims' festivities will affect these elections and probably cause a lot of people to be disenfranchised, it's also fair to look into the complaints of this Christian sect as well. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I brought it up. I said it's fair to look into that, but sometimes election, what we operate here is majoritarian rule. Election is usually a game of numbers, and the majority have their say, while majority will have their way, while the minority will have their say. in this instance, the 7 days or the Sabbath people are the minority.
The minority
Yeah,
Christian sect.
in minority
against-
Christian sect, and their numbers is not that significant to cause any more changes. We are talking about
An entire region.
entire region where majority, about 80 to 90% of those to vote in are Muslims, and they are adherent of this
And even
worship.
possible presidential candidates
May also be affected by that. So that is the reason why INEC will have to look into the situation in line with the dates that will not affect the law and all that. So it is something that they can work out the modality, look at the calendar, come up with a more viable and suitable date for all parties. As for the 7 Days Adventist Church, they are already in court. Let's see if the Supreme Court, because the matter will get up to the Supreme Court, will rule that we should also consider, because they also have right to worship as enshrined in our law, as enshrined in our law, they have the right to worship.
and the right to vote.
And voted for. So if this is affecting their worship days, which will make them not to vote or to contest for election to be voted for, that means you've also disenfranchised and, cost them some damage. So let the Supreme Court look into the matter, and whatever their position is, we will respect. But for now, it is what it is.
All right. Moving forward. Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, has called for a full investigation into alleged wiretapping claims made by former Kaduna State Governor Nasser El-Rufai, warning that remarks could amount to a serious security breach. Onanuga reacted to El-Rufai's comments during a TV interview where the former governor alleged that the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, ordered his arrest and claimed he knew this because his camp listened to their calls. Onanuga said the statement suggested an admission of illegal wiretapping and should attract the attention of law enforcement agencies. He stressed that El-Rufai was not above the law and must face investigation and possible punishment if found culpable. Meanwhile, rights activist Deji Adeyanju dismissed the arrest claim as exaggerated, arguing that there was no evidence of a formal plan to detain the former governor. What do you make of this story?
Laurentia, I must say that I'm looking at it from different angle.
All right, let's hear it.
Why, as at yesterday, when this whole thing came up, I'm saying that in a more senior clumps, the likes of El-Rufai should have been cooling off in a place where he will have no access to even his family members. You have admitted to have committed a crime. Wiretapping. Not just anybody, that of the NSA. Meaning that our national security.
Which means our information, our national security information and data.
So when you look at all these things,
they have been tapping it.
But no, calm down. I want to say something. I want to reverse it the other way.
All right.
I am not sure that El-Rufai has such information. I am not sure. I'm not certain.
Why do you say that?
The reason is simple. We are entering electioneering period.
Okay.
Anything to make the government that appears to be invisible before Nigerians, to look so ordinary before Nigerians, will be used during the electioneering campaign to demean and ridicule and reduce them to the barest minimum, so the Nigerians will not have any form of trust in them. Because some senior people will say, if NSC, no less a person, that has the data of our national security, his phone is being tapped, that means even some of us who are ordinary people do not have anything. We don't have any form of security. I don't know if you understand. So eventually El-Rufai will be invited and they will find out that he has nothing on them. But he has just sent a message. And that message will continue to ring in the head of a lot of people. That's how I'm looking at it, because El-Rufai is not a child not to have understood that that statement is capable of throwing him behind bars for years that nobody will see him. He's not unaware of it, yet he made a statement. He will be invited at the end of the day. Surely he will be invited. And by the time they begin to investigate, they might not find any. That's what I'm looking at, because, see, it is difficult. It is difficult for you or anyone for opposition to ask any incumbent governor in Africa, especially in countries like this. So the opposition try to use extreme measures to ensure that the ruling party does not go back. It happened during Jonathan's term. This ruling APC went as far as going to Chatham House. They went to different places. They used international media, things that Jonathan we are not involved, things he never did. They used propaganda and everything to even down south where Jonathan comes from. Some people began to say, we cannot support this and that. They messed him up using the media. They even invited the US authorities and all that. They went there. They spoke. So it appears that even an external interference, happened to ensure that Jonathan lost that election. This opposition has started. Then we are the same set of people that did it before. They have started, know what they're doing. How can you, even if you have such information that you tapped into the NSA's phone and all that, is this something you come out to the public? I'm talking about a former governor, a former minister, a first-class brain coming to the whole world to tell the world that they are already listening to what the man is saying. I don't think such a thing is happening. He did that because he wants to demean the government. It's about, politics is about optics. People heard something, people are seeing, and that will ring for another 1 week or two. Before then, another one will come up again. All these things are just to see how they can, reduce whatever influence the incumbent government has.
And make it look like the Nigerian security system
like that. And a lot of
porous.
people will begin to ask, can we even entrust anything in the hands of a government like this? So I think that's what he's just trying to do. That's my thinking. I don't think he has any information on that.
All right. But then when you look at it on the other side, on the side of Bayo Onanuga, first of all, it takes a whole lot of guts and courage and audacity to come out on, public space and say that, oh, I know that they were tapping our phones and our conversations, and we also tapped their own, right? And he said, Nuhu Ribadu placed the call, and he said it with a whole lot of confidence. And they told him, how did you know? Because you were not there. He said, oh, because they asked him, how did you know? He actually called the name. And he said the NSA placed the call for his arrest. That was how the whole wiretapping. He now said because they tapped his line, that they overheard him making the calls. How? Because you were not there. That, he now said, oh, that they also tapped, they were listening to the conversation. Now, why that might be a cause of concern is you recall the anonymous saga that happened sometime a few years back, where a group or a person called Anonymous, who usually comes with a hood, you don't see his face, on Facebook that time, that was some years back, was releasing certain sensitive information that was classified by the government. You recall that? Yeah. That happened. That was a Nigerian tech person who was under the cover of Anonymous. And I think at that point, there was a certain time he even told MTN he was coming for them, and there were glitches, and people had excess credit and data to use. And he was announcing when he would do what he would do. And even some banks were affected at the end of the day. That's the extent of how smart and developed Nigerians are when it comes to technology, right? And if someone like El-Rufai is coming out to say we tapped, if an Anonymous could do that to a government, how much more wiretapping?
No,
I don't know if you understand.
I know where you're headed. I'm not saying that Nigeria's technology is that strong enough not to be, hacked into. I am not saying that Nigeria, that our technological rise has risen to the point where, external hackers cannot hack into such, sensitive information and release them. That's not what I'm saying. The possibility is there. I am saying that El-Rufai, knowing the implications of not even appearing as Anonymous to say such, he knows the implications, so he wouldn't have become the one to say it. Alternatively, it could be that people from the NSA, DSS, or DMI,
Also
as the
gave
case
him
may be, who
information.
are working with them, who has some kind of relationship
Loyalty.
with them, loyalty and all that, would have given them that information from where they released it. And he would not want to
want to protect them.
jeopardize such a person, because once they find out, they will weed the person away and he will not be getting the information that he's supposed to get.
But if that is the case, then and he wanted to shield the person, certain information when they get to you, it's absolutely unnecessary for you to.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
As a journalist, there are certain information I might be privy to that I will never ever
with it.
say here.
Yeah.
But by the virtue of my job and my position, I may have access to certain information, right? And I will never say it. I mean, it is what it is. Yes, and one would now say, to a large extent, the former governor, if he wanted to shield, if we go by what you have said, and he had, there are certain leakages or saboteurs within the NSA, NACACUS, and the DSS and all of that are giving them information. One would say common sense and wisdom, and for someone who you said, yeah, Enufai is a very smart man, very smart, very intelligent, politically savvy. One would say that it's fundamental common sense, if I may use that word, that you protect those people by not even mentioning the NSA's name in the first instance. I mean, he could have made every point that he needed to make without directly pointing on the NSA and saying he said this and that.
That's correct.
Right. Probably he was not expecting that the interviewer will throw that question at him, as in, how did you get to find out?
However, the question,
he had no business mentioning that name.
However, the question came. This is not something for such a man who understands the implication of such a statement. However, the question comes, you can always evade questions.
Yes.
You can ask me a direct question and I will know what to say. We're trying to play around it. Even when you're still insisting, it is for me to say, because if I don't say it, I'll be protecting myself. If I say it, I'll be harming myself and those that I'm working with. So that is where tact comes in. If you do not have it, then you have no business coming to the TV or ready to discuss, because the public, the world is hearing.
Yes.
So he will be invited. Leave all these things that he will be invited, and by the time they invite him, they will try to extract this information. It is not left for him to say, okay, I got it from someone working with you, or we actually tapped, or I was using it as a political propaganda, to reduce the government to nothing. He will be invited. Trying to say one or two will not save him. Being a former governor will not save him, because people will ask the Nigerian government question. How come? It's an allegation against you?
In Nigeria, because at this point, it's not even the political office holder. How come an everyday Nigerian is able to tap
into such a sensitive,
the security system and
national
network
security of Nigeria?
Ooh, that's very big. That is very big. So if I understand, and this is probably the reason why you're saying, going by the experience of El-Rufai, there is no way he could have done that and also have the temerity to say it openly
in national television.
So that's an empty boast to demean the position of the current administration.
Because we are entering election.
They need to play that insecurity card.
Anything at all, just to make sure that they reduce and whittle the influence of the incumbent government to enable their own opposition to win the election is okay. It's permissible, but this one is like he has gone over the bar to do what he was not supposed to do. So he will be invited by the NSA, by the security agent. If it was a Senate claims, El-Rufai will not leave that station back to his house. The moment he made that, the nearest police station, the nearest military setup within that place will be there at the door waiting for him. The moment he leaves the studio, he will be nabbed and taken into custody for questioning. But unfortunately, we live in a society where the big men are above the law. The rule of law does not even, it takes effect only on the poor people.
And going by what you have said, if El-Rufai is not probed, if he is not invited, if he's not investigated, then to a large extent, that will also make Nigerians begin to raise eyebrows even more at the current administration and wonder if there is something playing out that we don't understand,
We don't understand.
that somebody will come and
Obviously.
make this kind of dangerous, if I may
We will
use that
even
word.
assume that what El-Rufai said is the
It's
truth.
true.
Because he leveled allegations against you, and with all your security apparatuses, with all the strength, with all the
He's just saying that
instrumentality of force,
he's saying that
you
the
could not.
security is porous, that Nigerian security architecture
We have always
and
known-
intelligence is porous.
We have always known that the security is porous, given the level of insecurity we have in the land. We have always known that sabotage is the reason why Nigerian security is not effective enough. It's not for lack of men and motivation, rather. It's because of sabotage. And this sabotage comes from high places. You know, when you see somebody who is highly placed being the one involved in this sabotage, you, the ordinary person, will just throw blind eye, or you can even be killed on the process. That is the challenge in the Nigerian security system. It's not for lack of men. It's not. So this has just revealed that something is actually going on that the ordinary people, you know, have not been told. If they don't arrest El-Rufai and try to extract the reason why he made such a statement, in fact, Nigerians will take Europe against the current government.
All right, moving forward, member of the House of Representatives, Ojotu Ejema, has claimed that access to jobs, admissions, and other government opportunities under President Bola Tinubu's administration may largely favor card-carrying members of the All Progressive Congress. Ojema, who defected from the PDP to the APC in 2025, made the remark while addressing members of the National Association of Agatu Students. He urged youths and residents of his constituency to formally join the ruling party, arguing that political affiliation could influence who benefits from government programs and interventions. The lawmaker warned that those outside the APC might be overlooked when opportunities arise, stressing that aligning with the ruling party was a practical step to improve access to jobs, admissions, and socio-economic benefits. His comments have sparked debate amid growing public concern over alleged politicization of opportunities and the use of personal data, including NIN, for party-related activities. George, what is your take on this one?
Laurentia, news like this should not make the rounds, if you ask me, because it negates everything that we believe when it comes to, you know, rule of law and all that. I mean, how do you tell a people? It's like you're not giving them choice. You're trying to use indirect ways, subtle means to coerce them into joining one political party, and that is the only way they can secure jobs, appointment, and scholarship and things like that. You know, imagine maybe there are 100 persons we will address, and inside that 100, maybe 10 ordinarily we are PDP members or intending to become PDP members, and the others who are ADC and all that. With what he has said there, looking at the country we are in, a lot of them will say, for me to even benefit from this, the only way is to join the APC, and they will have no other means than to join the APC. Still, you know, trying to enforce the one-party rule system we are talking about. But I think, like I said, this should not have made the news. This thing is something that should have been said behind the scene, like we play politics. And these are some of the things they use in convincing people to even vote for your candidate. And
Which
party.
is more why it should make the news, because conversations like this should be had. When lawmakers go against law, go against Nigerian constitution to try to coerce people,
No,
because
I am
now
not
people are no
blaming you
longer
for,
believing.
I'm not blaming you as a press person to have brought it up. I am saying that he shouldn't have allowed that to make the news, because this is demeaning to his person, and the position is occupied, not to you as a media person. I mean, the essence of media is to educate, disseminate information for people to be aware. So you've done your job. I am saying that he should have been more tactful, not to have allowed it to make the rounds. He shouldn't have allowed it. It should have been something that's, you know, spoken.
Don't you think
behind
most
the
of
scene.
these lawmakers say, some of these politicians, let me not limit it to lawmakers, some of these, we've seen politicians say things that are preposterous and ridiculous. Don't you think some of them say these things in a bid to impress probably the presidents, in a bid to impress their political parties, to show them that, oh, I mean, he just defected from a PDP
I
to
agree with you,
APC.
and it is because of the kind of politics we play here, where the people's will are not even the determinant factor to becoming elected in our electoral system. If the transmission of electoral result in real time is passed by the Senate, where even using Starlink from the remotest part of this world or this country, you can have your result transmitted, to the NX server. You see that a lot of things will change.
Yeah.
Some persons who found their way to corridors of power, or who became, leaders and all that, ordinarily cannot even win the simplest councillorship seat, given the antecedent and all that. But because of things like this, trying to impress, massage the egos of the leader, he has spoken well, let's return him and all that, give him all the support. But if the people are actually the ones that has the mandate to return anybody, and he made a statement like this, and those who are against this kind of statement are more, obviously he's going home. So people will be conscious of what they say in public. So, like he said, that is the kind of country we live in. So sometimes, look at what happened in the Senate the other day. Senator Nwobuchi or something from a because it borders on his kinsman, who was the former governor,
Umahi,
who obviously,
Minister of Works.
Minister, who obviously was the one, his political boss, that ensured that he become a member of the Senate. He's trying everything, trying to undermine his colleague. Undermining his colleague who was the chairman of the committee, shouting on top of his voice and all that. If it was not because the election was coming and it was his direct boss that was involved, he wouldn't have acted that way. So characters like this will have nothing to do with our politics by the time, people's votes begin to count the way it should. In real time, I'm not saying people's votes do not count, people's votes count. But sometimes in the process of moving from unit level to ward level, from ward level to local government, from local government to state, and in the case of national election to Abuja, before they will announce it, there would have been some kind of alterations and distortions and all that. But if it is a real time, from unit, as soon as we're done, we move it straight. In nanosecond, they appear in annex server, and those who are online are monitoring. Nobody will have any time to begin. In fact, a lot of people who are known as political champions and all that will become nothing because they cannot be useful any longer. At the unit level, that's where these things will be decided. Once the vote and the election, time for counting, after the counting, the result is entered right there. The agents have signed, the result is entered, and it transmits straight to our next server. You can be any part, you can be in any part of the world to view what is happening. So in real time, from wherever, people will see to say, okay, we actually lost or we actually won, given the data before us.
All right.
You understand? So if we begin to make our elections, our votes to count to that level, I believe that people like this, characters like this, will find it difficult to make them, because your utterances is capable of making or marrying you.
All right. Thank you very much, George. It's a pleasure having you on Open Air this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much to our viewers for always staying connected to us. And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Open Air. We are open for sponsorship of the program, advert placements, news, events, coverage, and commercials. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. On Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. You can also watch us on Avo TV, Niger TV, and Ifastech TV platform. You can connect with us on our ATN socials by subscribing, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. And on X, Atlantic TV Net. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Laurentia Ogu. See you same time tomorrow. Bye for now.
Mr. President, my people are under